So what happens when a city gets so wicked that it's just erased from the face of the earth? Today we are diving deep into one of the most dramatic and honestly terrifying stories ever told. The Fall of Sodom, straight out of Genesis chapter 19.
Our source for this whole breakdown is Genesis 19 from the King James Version. It's this ancient story that's just packed with huge themes. We're talking judgment, hospitality, and a really desperate escape. We're going to break this whole intense narrative down, act by act, to see exactly how it all went down.
And you know, this story really forces us to wrestle with a pretty terrifying question. What actually happens when divine justice finally shows up? As you're about to see, the answer is, well, it's stark, and it's something you won't forget.
All right, let's get started with Act 1, Angels in a Wicked City. So, the story opens up at dusk. Picture this. Two mysterious strangers, who are actually angels in disguise, arrived at the city gates of Sodom.
Right away, we meet our guy, Lot. He sees these strangers and, he insists on showing them hospitality, offering them a safe place to crash, wash their feet, and spend the night. Now, in a city with a reputation like Sodom's, this simple act of kindness, it's a huge, dangerous gamble.
But yeah, that peace doesn't last long, at all. Before Lot's guests can even think about going to sleep, the entire house is surrounded. And the text is super specific here. It says every man from every quarter, both old and young. This is not just some random mob, okay? This is the entire male population of the city. And their intentions are, let's just say, not very hospitable.
And this brings us right to Act 2, a horrifying bargain. The quiet evening just completely shatters and turns into this violent confrontation, right there on Lot's doorstep.
Their demand is, wow, it's brutally direct. They're shouting, "Bring them out unto us that we may know them." Now, in this context, the phrase "to know them" isn't about getting acquainted. It's a euphemism for sexual violence, which makes their intent just chillingly clear. Lot's response is frankly just as shocking. He is so desperate to protect his guests, to uphold the sacred duty of hospitality, that he makes an unthinkable offer: his own 2 virgin daughters. He's literally pleading with them, "Do ye to them as is good in your eyes, only unto these men do nothing." It's a really disturbing choice, putting his guests' safety above his own family's. The mob completely rejects his offer and starts trying to break down the door. And this is the moment we see the first real display of supernatural power. The angelic guests yank Lot back inside, slam the door shut, and strike the entire crowd with blindness. Suddenly, all these men are just groping around, totally unable to find the door they were just about to break down. For the moment, Lot's family is safe.
Okay, so that divine intervention, that's the turning point. It's the game changer. In Act 3, the Reign of Fire, all negotiation is off the table. Now it's just a race against total and complete destruction. So, the escape unfolds in 4 super fast stages. First up, you've got the warning, a clear order to get out of there. Then comes the critical command, run for your life, and whatever you do, do not look back. Next, boom, the destruction. Fire and brimstone literally rain down from the sky. And finally, the tragic consequence for disobeying. Lot's wife looks back and she's instantly turned into a pillar of salt. And to really get a sense of the scale of this devastation, the story actually shifts its perspective for a moment. As the sun comes up, the patriarch Abraham is watching from a safe distance, and he sees the smoke from the entire plain rising up as the smoke of a furnace. Just imagine that. It's a vision of complete and utter annihilation.
But the story doesn't just end with a fire and brimstone. Not even close. The final act explores the really unsettling aftermath for the few who survived. This is Act 4, a desperate legacy. So, Lot and his 2 daughters make it out, and they escape to a cave, totally alone. And you have to understand their psychological state here. This is key. They believe the entire world has been destroyed. They are convinced they are the last 3 people alive, and that profound sense of isolation drives them to make a truly desperate decision. The older daughter comes up with this incredibly shocking plan. Believing there are no other men left on the entire planet, she decides the only way to preserve the family line is to get their father drunk on 2 consecutive nights and lie with him. It's a grim strategy born from this terrifying belief that they alone have to repopulate the world. So what's the outcome of this desperate act? Well, it's foundational. The text makes a point to say that Lot had no idea what was happening. From these unions, 2 sons are born, Moab and Ben-Ami.
And the narrative then uses this really unsettling origin story to explain the beginnings of two of ancient Israel's biggest rivals, the Moabites and the Ammonites.
So we're left with this incredibly complex, messy ending. I mean, it's a story of survival for sure, but it's a survival that comes at a massive moral and psychological cost. And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. What is the true price of a new beginning?